I remember the first time I heard Salvia Palth. I was about 16, floating around the weird side of YouTube. Then I saw I Was All Over Her in the sidebar. I clicked on the video, and I was instantly enchanted. I was into lo-fi music at the time, but I'd never heard anything quite like this. The warm guitars and reverb-drenched vocals was something I loved immediately. As I listened to the track, I started to scroll through the comments, reading things such as, "This song is literally there for my loneliest moments. Why did he disappear? His music is so good. I love it. It depresses me. Why does this song hurt so good? He was 15 when he released this. That's crazy how talented he is." After I finished listening to the song, I headed over to his Bandcamp and found his album Melanchole. I really enjoyed them, but there was only one album. Time went on, and about a year later I found videos of people covering the song I Was All Over Her. This reminded me of my experience the year before, so I headed back over to his Bandcamp to see if he'd released any new music, but no. The page was exactly the same as it was a year ago, as if it had been abandoned. There was so much mystery around this guy. He was so popular, yet so unknown at the same time. It got me thinking, who the hell is Salvia Palth? The original video I found now sits at over 1 million views, showing the continued popularity of the song. Daniel Johann Lines, the man behind this project, is from New Zealand. To see if I could find any more information on him, I headed back to his Bandcamp. The first thing I saw were the comments, similar to those written on YouTube, reinforcing the type of fan that listens to Salvia Palth. After looking around the Bandcamp page some more, I found out that the album was recorded in the winter of 2012, and by looking on his Spotify page, I found out that he was 15 when he recorded this album. In the album credits, I read that all songs were written and composed by Daniel Johann, with the exception of the song Madison and the drums on a few tracks, which were done by Ike Swanigan, is how I think you pronounce the name. He thanks someone called Andrew for letting him borrow his bass and use his drum set. He also thanks the girl that he sings about in his song Girl. There have been several releases of this album. In a radio interview by Recharted on Radioactive FM that I found on Mixcloud, he says the album was originally uploaded to Bandcamp as a pay-what-you-want release.
Well, I guess I would attribute the success of Melanchole mainly to my own interests at the time, which were, the whole Tumblr emo scene. It was 2012, you've got to give me some slack for that, but I was very into Teen Suicide, the band, and that's what the name is. The name of the band was named after. They have a song called Salvia Palth, and I misread the name originally, so that's why it's Salvia Palth. I kind of just stuffed up there.
With no marketing campaign, or no record label in sight, the album has become a cult favourite over time. But in 2016, the album received a vinyl release by Ozona Records. However, this version of the album was remastered for vinyl, a different cover art on Bandcamp, and it had a slightly different track listing from the original. Track 4, Melanchole, which was one of the ambient noise tracks on the album, was shortened down to the first 55 seconds and had a song called Diary Part 1, demo, added to the end of it. In the album credits, Daniel has written that Diary Part 1 is a song he wrote shortly after he originally released Melanchole. Track 8, Madison, another ambient noise track on the album, was replaced entirely by a song called Voice V. However, this could be Roman numerals for 6, we don't know. In the credits, it says that Voice V is a song from the Salvia Palth album Voices. I haven't been able to find this album anywhere. The only evidence of this album I could find was the cover art, track listing, runtime, and year of release on a website called rateyourmusic.com. Maybe he's taken this album offline. If anyone knows anything about this album, please let me know. The final track of the album, Reprise Reprise, was also replaced with a song called Tia Roja, which he said was a reinterpretation of a Maori folk song that he had recorded the previous year. The revised and remastered version of the album then received a repress by Danger Collective in 2018 on both vinyl and cassette due to popular demand. One thing I'd always wondered about, who's the guy on the front cover? I'd always assumed it was him, but upon finding a video of Daniel playing I Was All Over Her live, it became apparent it was not. By looking through comments on Instagram and YouTube, I found that it was in fact his friend, Bran Birmingham. I was able to find Bran by looking through the comments of Daniel's Instagram page, which hasn't been active since May 2018. The comments are also filled with fans asking where he's gone and expressing their feelings about his music. In the video I found of Bran on Instagram, he mentions that he's also a musician and a street artist.
My name is Bran. I'm a street artist and a musician.
However, I was unable to find any of his music online. Back on Bandcamp, underneath the album credits of Melanchole, it says World Anti-God Freedom X, out now on Adore 1996, Bandcamp, which is a reference to one of Daniel's other projects. In the top right corner of the Bandcamp page, I found links to two of his other projects, the first being Adore 1996. This project has a similar sound to Salvia Palth, and is what Daniel released after Melanchole. When I looked at the earliest release by Adore 1996, I read the album credits, which read, "The only two songs that survived a fire that burnt my house down, in a condition that I could release them. Endless love to anyone." After reading this, I decided to Google him to see if I could find any more information about the fire. There isn't a great deal of information out there, but I was able to find a few interviews under his artist name, Adore 1996. One of these was the previously mentioned radio interview I found. This is from 4 years ago, just after the release of Adore 1996's World Anti-God Freedom X. He said he makes music under Adore 1996, Daniel Johann and Salvia Palth, as well as previously Damn You Laurie, which can still be found on Bandcamp. He also mentions that he's played in some other bands, so it remains unknown just how many projects he's been a part of.
So I recorded an album called Winter in the space between the release of Melanchole and when my house burnt down last year. I lost my laptop, not due to a fire or anything. I lost it due to a burst pipe above my room, which I think is a bit ironic. So a pipe burst destroyed all my electronic equipment, and all I had was just a full a WAV file of the whole album uploaded to Mediafire for my friend to listen to. So that's where the first two singles for Adore 1996 came from. But yeah, it was originally intended to be given a full release, but never really made it because I wasn't very happy with the final, what was the mix at the time.
Returning to Bandcamp, we can also visit his page under simply Daniel Johann. Here you can find work spanning back to 2012. This includes a split EP with Absent Friends and 5 other releases, as well as Winter, his lost album from the fire, in its original, incomplete form. We can see how songs like Went Home About It were built upon from this recording to the version on Anti-God Freedom X. In the Bandcamp description of Winter, he says, "Due to public interest, I've decided to make this available on Bandcamp in its unfinished form, only slightly altered from the condition it had remained in since I found it. Intended as a follow-up to my album Melanchole, Winter attempts to carry on from where I left off by expanding on some of the musical concepts I was interested in at the time. Repetition, noise, musical contrast, and pop songwriting. In an obvious state of disrepair, this album is presented to you as a flawed and unfinished work that I had put months of time into and expected to put months more into. I hope it can be some way enlightening." Daniel Johann has had multiple projects over the years, Salvia Palth just being one of many. There are still things we may never find, such as the Mysterious Voices album mentioned in the Melanchole credits. And although Daniel is no longer making music under this name, the legacy of Salvia Palth lives on and is still very popular within the lo-fi music scene today. After listening to this album, you are definitely left with a melancholy feeling. And although this album leaves you feeling low, it certainly makes you feel, like any amazing piece of art does. I think that the lack of information surrounding this project even adds to the appeal of it. Salvia Palth was something that once existed, but no more. Please let us know if there's any other underground Bandcamp artists you want us to talk about, but that's all for now. Thanks for watching.